y'all. Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Good
morning.
Yes.
Welcome back to another episode of the I Win Morning Show.
Back to life.
Come on and give us an introduction.
Reality.
Yes. Back to life, back to
Never
reality.
do you want it?
I'm like, y'all, listen, the countdown to the end of the year is super real.
Maybe that's tomorrow. The end of the year is tomorrow.
Right.
Yes, because it will be the 1st of December this week.
I'm just saying, it feels like it's tomorrow. We skipped over Christmas. It's done. We're done. Yeah.
Well, we were off for the Thanksgiving holiday, so it's good to have everybody back. So if you are tuned in this morning, make sure you like and share this conversation. Get your family members, get your neighbors, get your loved ones, get your co-workers that you may need to have some little extra prayer with connected to the conversation this morning. But we are super excited to be back. It was a beautiful holiday. Before I get into Jay's corner, just again welcoming everybody back. We're super excited to see you. Thanksgiving, the unforgettable holiday. It's like as soon as October comes, Halloween, we see Mariah Carey is up, and it's like all I want.
The elves are on the shelf, baby. Y'all do Thanksgiving so wrong.
And Thanksgiving is just like, I'm here. Be thankful. But then it's also the historical context of Thanksgiving and how we have moved away from different things that we once celebrated, like Thanksgiving and like Columbus Day, which is not, we don't really hear so much about Columbus Day, more Indigenous People Day, which we recognize the atrocities that not just happened to Black Americans, but also that happened to the indigenous people here. So still got a lot of work to do, but it was a beautiful holiday. Dr. Dani, you are letting the people have it this morning.
Yes.
I love the lip color, everything.
Lip color, yes, I love it.
Thank you. Well, can we talk about the day of thanks really quick?
Yes, let's talk about it.
Because, no offense to those who are stepchildren, but Thanksgiving is typically considered like the middle child or the stepchild of holidays. Yeah. And what do I mean by that? It's the forgotten, or it's the overlooked. It's okay, whatever. Let's move on to bigger and better things. So I'm going to tell you what I did, because behind me, I decided to create a new tradition. And I wanted to create, because, I'm anti-Christmas before Thanksgiving. But I said, I want to create a Thanksgiving tree, which is what I did. So I made it all Thanksgiving fall themed, of all the things I love. Some of Jason's Thanksgiving greeting cards are on there from the past, and they're owls. And anyway, I said, this is my new tradition. So we can have a little bit of both. We can have the tree, but we can also create a theme where we are pausing, no gifts underneath it, but pausing to give thanks and to reflect on what you're thankful for.
I love that.
I love that.
It's always coming up.
Yes.
For something new. I love that. Innovation.
I love it too.
That's super dope. And I'm smiling because I'm like, somebody actually keeps the cards.
Oh, I don't throw those away.
I know it. You are so good. The last one you sent me was on my nightstand for a long time. And then someone else gave me one and I replaced it.
There you go.
That's good. See, and I'm glad
note cards are making a comeback, though. Also, thoughtful note cards are making a comeback.
Yes.
Baby, the written word is never to be forgotten, much like Thanksgiving.
But have you also noticed there are more Thanksgiving greeting cards out there now? I had never noticed.
I had not noticed
that. Put me on to even looking at cards for Thanksgiving.
Well, maybe I didn't notice because I didn't get a Thanksgiving greeting card, but I hadn't noticed.
Thanksgiving, y'all listen. We're just welcoming everybody back. Get connected to the conversation. Let us know how your Thanksgiving holiday was, how you celebrated with your families. Dr. Dani just dropped a new tradition on us just like that. So if you're tuned in,
we're going to bite.
Yes. If you see behind Dr. Dani, it's a phenomenal tree where she's collected things throughout the Thanksgiving holidays just to celebrate the season of thanks. And, this is my philosophy. Thanksgiving is every day because I'm thankful that any day that I'm able to open my eyes on this side of what we call life, I'm thankful. So Thanksgiving is really a lifestyle. It's not so much of a holiday, but we do appreciate the time to be able to come together, have some time off work, and really
Absolutely.
connect. You know, Thanksgiving is also kind of like the last like hurrah for homecoming, because that's when you kind of bring, you know, everybody is coming together, and it's like, let's come together over some good food. You know, we're going to play maybe some checkers or some Connect Four. You know, some families may play spades, some may do tongue. I don't know. But, you know, those traditions are out there. But good morning again, everybody. Welcome back to the I Win Morning Show. I'm going to go right into Jay's Corner this morning, because I got a couple of things that I want to get off my chest, but it's not going to be what you guys think. I need you, like me, to get your notebooks ready. Go ahead and get those notebooks out. I got to ask you to do two things. Go ahead and like and share this out if you're watching on YouTube, Twitter, any of the social media outlets, because I'm not going to name them all. But if you're watching, thank you. And let's make sure we get more people connected to the conversation. Now, I've got to go into this, y'all, just in Jay's Corner really quickly. Two announcements. Major day of action coming up. December 5th is the runoff election day. My good brother, Shivy Brooks, is running for school board. Right. He is an active teacher. And let me tell you that the same people who are supporting Cop City, which is not a bad thing, the same people who are against students being able to have work permits at 15 and, you know, anything that's innovative, they are paying people to create a narrative. And I'm saying paying people, so you get these fancy emails and these nice blogs. They're paying these people to basically create a narrative that parents should not value teachers. And I don't think that people really understand how dangerous that is. Why would we be encouraging Black and brown parents, of all parents in public education, to be against teachers, and especially to be against a teacher who wants to serve on the school board? Now, I'm just going to drop a little common sense, because it seems to be common to me. But we know this to be true because we know there's a nurses guild. We know that nurses are on hospital boards. We know that doctors are on hospital boards. So let's just start there, because the train depot has a board too. And they have conductors and people who work on on their board. I'm just trying to figure out, why would we in 2023 be allowing anyone to create a narrative that tells Black and brown people that they should not want a teacher to be on the school board? Ripley's Believe It or Not, baby, if y'all don't get that, hey, that's all I can say. But here is the real thing for Jay's Corner. Go and get out and vote December 5th. I want to give y'all my top nine. I ain't do top 10. I want to do top 9, because 9 is complete, right? My top 9 orgs for Giving Tuesday. Now, last season, we had a phenomenal show on Giving Tuesday. You can still go to educationalentities.com and check it out after you watch this show. But I'm going to give you 9 orgs that I think you should consider donating to for Giving Tuesday, which is tomorrow. If you don't know what Giving Tuesday is, again, go check out our show. Now, of course, coming in at number 1 is Lily's Foundation. It's not in really order. I just wrote down my 9. But at number 1 coming in is Lily's Foundation. You can support our work for grandparents and seniors. Of course, I put HEY, Helping Empower Youth. Every Color Matters, which is an organization that focuses in on cancer. The Crawford Foundation. This is my niece's godfather who passed away here in the city of Atlanta due to the negligence of our city with removing trees. And we've seen that a lot of people have had trees fall on their homes, and unfortunately, it killed this brother. One of our guests, the Brothers Brunch Foundation, is on my list of 9 to support, right? For Giving Tuesday. Of course, this phenomenal organization, Community Empowerment Foundation, that supports the work of Lily's Foundation, is on the list. Support us. Now, y'all, I threw a school on here because, again, you can support a school, and the school that's on the list of 9 for Giving Tuesday It's Ivy Prep. I have a love for Ivy Prep.
Yes,
It
you
supports
do.
Black and brown girls. And I'm all about support. And if we really are going to say we love Black and brown women, let's get behind things that are supporting them, that are for them, by them, led by them, ownership with and envisioned by them, right? So that's how you become an ally. I'm giving up my seat to you so you can do the work for people who look like you, sound like you, and have your story. All right, y'all, come on. I'm trying to preach a little bit. Now, I added two things on here that I thought would be really cool. And number 8, Chevy Brooks. He's again running for school board. Support him, y'all. We got to invest in people that we want in office. And also a good friend of mine, and he's on the board for Lily's Foundation. Rashawn Kemp is running for office. These were my 9. So look up these individuals, support them. That's it. I'm passing the mic to Dr. Dani because I know y'all want to see this beautiful face. Give us some beautiful and amazing affirmations this morning. So Dr. Dani, my mic is off. I'm passing it to you.
Caught it. Thank you, Jason. And what a wonderful way to start off this week by thinking of other people. And I love that, the list. And I thought you were going to have Lily's Foundation on like each one of those, all 9, by the way, Jason. All right, good morning, everybody. It is time for affirmation time. Who's ready? So I was thinking about this as we were giving grace, saying grace during all the times we were eating this week. And then I started thinking we give grace, we pause every day. And for some of us, we do it for every meal. We give grace. We thank God for what he has provided for us. But how many times do we thank God for what he has created within us? So I said, this is a good question. What if we pause, like we pause to say grace, to pause and to thank God for who he has created, meaning us, you, Jason, Tonya, Danielle. What if we did that? What if we started our day realizing the greatness that he's created in us? So here is the affirmation. What if we pause for a minute, like we do to say grace, to thank God for making you specifically, for entrusting you specifically, this awesome individual, to do something that no one else can do on this earth, and to make an amazing contribution to this world. What if? Take the time to pause and thank God for who he has created within you. That is the affirmation for today.
Listen, y'all, what if? I hope somebody from Marvel is listening this morning because they have a series called What If, and they got stuck after Chadwick Boseman passed away because they could not get someone to, they were trying to find who do we get to narrate and who do we get to create the story of what if. And I was listening to Dr. Dani and my mind was like, what if? But what if Dr. Dani was writing this series for Marvel? Because they need that, right? So Dr. Dani, thank you for this morning's affirmation. What if? The possibilities of believing, but centering that around Thanksgiving. I love that. I don't know if y'all got that connection, but y'all better go ahead and get Dr. Dani's information and contract her to have your Thanksgiving tree together. Now that was good. That's leading us into the tea time. I'm passing the mic to you.
Hey, good morning. And so good to see you all. I think we took a big hiatus. I didn't even talk to Jason over the break, which is crazy because normally we chat, but I think it's a good sign that we both took some rest and enjoyed our families. So I'll take that as that, even though I didn't get a Thanksgiving card with that. I'm not gonna mention that again. Now, the tea, honey, the community is full of tea. So get your cups. One, Renaissance, the movie premiere this weekend. So I had to go get my hat, and do a little nod, little ode, have me a little sparkles going on. Ode to Beyonce, opening up for the preview of her movie Renaissance. I'm calling it Black Friday heist. I've been seeing the people balking and gawking over these non-deals. And it used to be a time of fun and we can get things, for the holidays, for the low, but so many people are like, that's not enough off, right? Somebody told me, I was watching a TikTok and the guy said, no, that's a Thursday sale. That's a win. When y'all get, I'm gonna let you know when you get to Friday. But right now the prices are like a Wednesday, Thursday sale. And which brings me to in our community locally, I don't know about nationally, the smash and grabs are up because I also watched somebody say, do a TikTok that says, and they pose the question, have we been priced out of living? And we have gotten to a point that where people cannot afford the things that they want, some things that they need, they're just going to start taking them more and more. So we have priced people out of being able to buy homes, have families, raise children, the basic things that we thought we were getting up every morning going to work for. So that's a thought. We put a pin in that and we can come back to it. I am calling Thanksgiving a healing holiday because I saw a lot of that also in the community. That maybe Thanksgiving is not so forgotten after all. I don't refer to it as such, but while we're on here, but it's a day to get together and have family food, fun, and I'm going to add forgiveness. And I saw a lot of that. I participated in a big homegoing celebration where there was a lot of people getting together with good healing energy that hadn't seen each other in a long time. And it was really a beautiful thing. And so lastly, not so good things in the news. They're trying to bring one of our local celebrities. He's a worldwide celebrity, but just trying to drag our boy in this Diddy shakeup. The price of fame, people are asking themselves. And so a lot of that is going on. I know we're going to see more fallout from that situation. But just a shame to see people who have power exude and exert their power in such a horrible and awful manner. And last but not least, not only is it Mental Health Awareness Month for men, but it's also National Family Engagement Month. So as we near the last of this month, make sure you do something. Go to a school in your community. Help a family that might need a little something, maybe groceries, because groceries are high. But it's National Family Engagement Month. And I challenge everybody not only to give on Giving Tuesday, because it's Giving Tuesday, but to end your month doing something for your community, school, in your neighborhood.
Tonya better come on and reel this in, y'all. Listen, it is Giving Tuesday. It is a perfect way to celebrate families. I'm going to drop my 9 again at the end of the show, but I gave a list of 9 organizations that you can give to on Giving Tuesday to make sure that you're investing in your money. Now, we got a phenomenal show, part 2. Thankful for our guests that are coming on this morning. So if you're tuned in, you have a great opportunity again to connect other people to this conversation because it's going to be super dope. I want to highlight 2 things before we get into the conversation. Of course, we're Georgians and we have to, highlight this. First Lady Rosalynn Carter, who is from Georgia, Plainsville, phenomenal. I've had an opportunity to meet her and her husband, of course. They are true advocates, y'all. I pray that I am able to be that old in my life and still be organizing and still be doing the things that I love to give back to other people. So I want to honor her life this morning with the I Win team. She was also, if people don't know, she was an advocate for seniors and grandparents. So of course, that's how we had a connection. And she was also a mental health advocate. And I have to highlight her work as a special education teacher because I was one of the teachers whose classrooms she visited more than one time. And very thankful for her advocacy for children who learn differently, but also children who do have mental illnesses. And there is a huge difference, and we're going to get into that on today. But I also want to highlight the passing of someone who was also a mentor to me, Bishop Carlton Pearson. He very controversial in the Christian world because he took a stance on inclusivity. And to be quite honest, if he didn't sacrifice what he did, I would not be able to have the voice that I have. today. And so I'm thankful for him. I was able to sit with him and be in his presence right before the pandemic through our good friend and brother Nehemiah Frank, who runs the Black Wall Street Times, and he was on the podcast. So want to commemorate and remember Bishop Carlton Pearson. I have a book that I'm going to be sharing in this conversation, but in that stance, I want to go ahead and bring on Thomas, who is with us this morning. Now, y'all notice that Brother Kenneth is not with us because he was in an accident this morning. So we're going to send some prayers out to Brother Kenneth Reddick, who leads the Brothers Brunch Foundation. He was super excited about being on, but y'all know we are in Georgia. And like much places, when it rains or if it's wet outside, people don't know how to drive. So praying for parents who are traveling to school and work this morning. Hope they get there safely. But Brother Thomas, we are excited to have you back. I know that we want to yield as much time to you to kind of give some more insight to Mental Health Awareness Month, some of the challenges that you're seeing in the field, and just some more work that we have to do around the conversation with men and mental health, but also with Black families and mental health. So we'll pass the mic to you, brother, to reintroduce yourself for people who may be new to the conversation, and we'll get right into it.
All right, first of all, good morning. Good morning.
Hey, good morning.
I will want to get off script a little bit and say it seems like every morning we start, at least my two shows with you all, we always come in with an attitude of gratitude at the end of the day. We've had fire one morning, and then we have an accident. So it's just one thing to realize is just life is just precious. And so absolutely, sending prayers out to Brother Kenneth. This is a loaded morning for me. Like I told you, I wake up in a space, and today I'm just feeling black as a mug. You know, black.
Oh yes.
So it's a black coffee day. Meaning for that, but I'm Thomas Morse. I'm president and owner of good Lord, it really is a Monday morning of Self Educators Incorporated, and which is a equity design team. I also serve as executive director for Seeds for Life, which is a nonprofit highlighting the awareness of ACEs, toxic stress and adversity among youth and their family. And so with that being said, I've just been kind of also in the space because I found the conversation to be timely, because this is one of those holidays where I got to come out on the other side, meaning my father, it's the anniversary of the death of my father on December 3rd. So I always come out of, we have since 2015 coming out of Thanksgiving with a lot on my mind. And so it also reminded me of all the other people who go through in this space, who also not necessarily find a lot of joy in the space, but I've learned to have a lot of joy in the space because it's, to be honest with you, this conversation, you know what I mean? Just knew it was coming around the corner. It allowed me to focus a lot on myself and notice that I had some tendencies where I've started to become complacent. So I kind of recognize it as my space of depression, if you will. You just get low, not return phone calls, kind of thing, just kind of stay in the headspace. So it helped me identify that. Let me just say that. And so I realized, hey, get out of that, man. You know what I mean? You're going to be all right. That's why I said this. It was great that Thanksgiving came along. So it's an attitude of gratitude. So it made me focus on the great, good things. And I'm saying intentionally, because I know this is a hard time for most. I know I've been running my mouth a lot, but like I said, I come on here and I get touched every time.
That's good though, brother, and I'm glad that you are sharing that. And I kind of want to just go here. There are a lot of people who are grieving, and we've talked about Dr. Dani's work. Good grief, guys! Make sure you get connected to her work and following her at Dr. Dani Speaks. But we also don't have enough conversations around this. So I want to go here, and definitely we want to give you some shine for this question. What does depression actually look like? Because I can tell you from the school standpoint, you know, it's very outdated. Like they give these cards to teachers and it's like, okay, this is what depression looks like. If a child is like this, or if they're sad, and those could be signs. But we also know that depression looks different for different people, and it shows up differently. So let's kind of go here. What does depression look like, especially around the holiday season where people may be grieving the separation and loss of loved ones?
Well, I do want to first express that it looks different in different people. I liken it kind of to the common cold. You don't know where the germ comes from, but you somehow can get it. You know what I mean? And so for some, for me, I'll just speak there. Start there. Like I said, it led with complacency, just no lack of energy, not feeling motivated, and I was in a great space coming to it. Like I said in the last conversation, but I found myself just kind of moving along slowly, not necessarily prioritizing things that were important, but necessarily needed to be prioritized. Is what I also find too in this space. Sometimes it was okay. For me, also my family, we're grieving. Had a loss of an aunt a few weeks ago, so we experienced 2 homegoing ceremonies. But being around family, it's energizing. Like I said, I'm just in a space, so I just know that it presents differently in different people. And like what I've learned is just talk. Like I said, I've learned the power of vulnerability at the end of the day, and that's one of the things I've appreciated about this season. Again, it forces you because everybody's not ready for it, but it forces you to kind of assess to think about the positive things. For me, I'll say that it forces me to think about the positive. And like I mentioned last time, that focus on lack versus abundance sometimes got in the way. And so I've learned to have an attitude of gratitude and know that everything is possible. And one of the most important things was in talking with my wife, she lost her aunt, more like a mom, but just having the experience of losing someone that's really close, and just sharing my experience with her, sharing that there are 8 weeks. It's been 8 years, but it feels like 8 days since my dad passed. You know what I mean? That emptiness is not. I'm learning not to call it depression anymore. I call it just missing. It's an emptiness, and it's because I miss somebody. It's a void there for somebody who loved me so much at the end of the day. And so I had to learn to kind of shift my mind and say, I'm glad to have been loved by somebody so much that I miss them. Because I don't wake up in that space every day looking forward to seeing everybody, you know what I mean? But I did have somebody that cared enough about me that I miss having around. I'm such a spiritual person. I have cardinal birds fly around my heart. I'm calling my spirit animal. They say that usually when cardinals come around, it's like an ancestor revisit. I'm leaning all into it. You know what I mean? I'm just finding all the positive things centered around it. I'm focused on the negative and the past, and it's gotten me nowhere. You know what I mean? So I'm learning to just be more vulnerable and have more connection with others, not telling them or trying to fix anyone, but just sharing that I see you and I know this is a difficult time. Life is hard, but hey, we got each other.
Man, listen, this is powerful because again, we don't always give space for brothers to be able to share this. So again, I'm just commending you for sharing your story and also really making it real for us. People are dealing with grief. They're dealing with depression. It shows up in different ways. Kudos for you sharing that. Also, Tonya, sending much love to, of course, you and Dr. Dani during this season. Now, I've tagged some people into this conversation who are experiencing loss and grief as well. Other organizers who are working with families that are also dealing with this, because if you're human, you may not be experiencing that loss, but you experience it with your loved ones, your friends, your family members. So it doesn't just have to be you per se. You still are going through it with people that you love. So I'm so excited about people who are also sharing resources. Now, on your screens, the Black Wall Street Times, phenomenal article. And let me say, it's not just a phenomenal article because it highlights the National Parents Union. But it does highlight NPU in this article because we are phenomenal with doing parent polls, and parents have said that they are concerned about the mental health of their kids post-pandemic. And we want to see more support around mental health, more counselors, more conversations, right? So parents are saying that they want to see more of this happening in schools. Now, I'm going to say this. I am encouraging parents. I'm encouraging, those who are in the faith community, those who are in after school programs, to find organizations. Some of them I've mentioned in my top 9 list, to partner with you to have these conversations with young people and also families around mental health, around mental illness, and what this looks like. Brother Thomas, I want to go here and ask you this. A part of the article, the Black Wall Street Times highlights the growing number of not just Black children, but Black adults who are dealing with anxiety. Let's get a little bit into anxiety. That goes into major shout out to our former mayor, Keisha Lance Bottoms, who recently announced in her YouTube channel that she is an adult that's battling ADHD. A lot of that, again, is connected to anxiety. I'm trying to put pieces of the puzzle together for people. So what does anxiety look like? How is that impacting our community, and how does that show up?
I love that you're asking me these questions, because I've also been diagnosed with anxiety-based ADHD.
Wow.
And how that presented in my life is, again, it was focusing on the lack. I started college in '93, but I recently graduated in 2019. I felt like a lot of things in my life were not going well because I didn't have my degree. I didn't have this. I didn't have that. So I focused a lot there. And so what it did was make me always feel like I was adequate in a lot of spaces. And so the anxiety built up of, am I going to present in such a way? Is this going to happen for me? Everything was all about looking forward, looking so forward that I missed actual time with my family by not being present and in the moment. And that is what really stuck out the most to me, is that I'm putting all these obstacles and barriers and boundaries in my way, and it's forcing me to not be present. And being present is very important. Also in my work, oh my God, I work in athletics at a school, and I deal with kids all day, every day at the end of the day. And what I do is try to create a space where all students feel comfortable to come talk to me, because they work in such a rigorous, rigorous environment where there's a lot of high expectation, and even I won't say a lot of times false expectations around grades and performing, not necessarily put a lot of time in affirming identity, if you will. Like I said, work with children, so it's about we have all these expectations, but not a lot of teaching. And so what I try to do is provide coaching and mentoring, and try and teach skills to those young people. So one, they can learn how to reframe their thoughts, because they're trying to kind of trigger their actions. They would trigger the thoughts, trigger your actions, and then that becomes a behavior. So if you get to learn to say, hey, today is a rough day, I'm not just going to have it today. You know what I mean? And I open up, let me start over just a tad bit and just say, at the beginning of my seasons as a coach, I always talk to the players and say, hey, there are going to be days you're not going to have it. You know what I mean? Let me know. That way I don't fuss at you or come breathe down on you, because I am going to push you to be your best. But today you might not have. Just say, coach, this is not that day. And I'll move on. We're not going to talk about it. I'm not going to shame you about it. I'm just going to understand that, hey, it's other things going on in your life other than running the ball through a hole at the end of the day, And so just creating that space and making it common to not be okay. Say, hey, I'm not feeling it today, coach. I'm saying, cool, we're gonna move on, but I will catch you tomorrow. You know what I mean? But let you know there's still work to be done, but it can be put off because some things are just not a priority at the time.
Love that.
Jason,
I love this topic, though.
No, listen, it's Men's Mental Health Month. That's why we have you on here. But I wanted to say something to the effect of what you're saying. As an athlete, as a mother of athletes, many of the people tuned in know that I'm a mom of 3 sons. And one of the things that, when I was choosing the teams that they would be on, or when I looked at who wanted them to play these different sports, it was always important to me to really do my research and just observe the coach and the practice. Are they, tearing down? Can they build? It is better to build strong children than repair broken men. So can these men help to continue to pour on the foundation that their father and I have already begun to pour on? Or are they going to be those kind of people that tear them down, the way they coach? And those things were important to me. And so as a coach, I love hearing you say that, because the job is not just to get the team to win.
That's
it's
good.
to
That's
build
good.
young men and women who can win at life. And if you play sports, I noticed from raising my children, the one child that quit never fully understood the concept of teamwork or accountability to
That's good.
something other than yourself. And so there's so many life principles to be taught in sports. And it's refreshing to hear you say that this is something you consider when teaching. The second thing I want to say is that I am a family advocate for an organization, and I do family community engagement for the nonprofit core. And we established our practice of SEEL, social, emotional, and ethical learning, inside of a high school. When I tell you that the way that has impacted these children for the better, where the space is very sensory adaptable, where they can come and have an actual timeout, where they don't have to leave school, they don't have to get suspended. We can call the parents because we've built the relationships with the parents, and teachers even come to have their timeouts. But it's so important post-COVID. It's always been important, but it's more important post-COVID to have somewhere where the anxiety-ridden child can come and say, I am in a safe space, I can do my work from here. And we can cultivate him with social workers and therapists and, those trained to be able to support children in that manner. The school can't do it all by themselves. And so it's great to have supports that can support the child during the day. And what we find out, we make a connection from the child to the parent, and that parent is also many times, or caregiver, experiencing some of those same things. And then we're able to do the whole child treatment with the parent and the student. So very, very key to establish a center in high schools, middle schools, even elementary schools, where children can go to just kind of breathe and de-escalate, as opposed to having it be something that it doesn't have to be escalating to something where the resource officer or, the child has to be put out of school, which 9 times out of 10 is not the best environment for them to be in during the day when they should be learning. Right? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Thomas and Tonya, the two T's, let me tell you, they're about to take us, and I'm looking at the time, it's almost 8:00. So if you're tuned in, thank you guys for watching. The I Win Morning Show is Mental Health Awareness Month, centering men. So we're glad to have our guest Thomas back with us for part 2. Now, I gotta go here, y'all, because this is important. This is gonna take us down the DEI lane as well, Dr. Dani. So get ready. I want to highlight this. You guys have brought up something that is very important to the conversation that we often overlook. What about the children who don't have 2-parent, 1-parent, grandparents, foster parents, a coach, a mentor, a counselor, somebody who's reaching them? I'm highlighting this because I know Mama Foley is on. She's a part of the Lily's Foundation, and we always are talking about underserved families, but we never really have conversations about the forgotten and overlooked children that we're failing. And these become adults that are in the prison system, who are in the mental health system, who don't have people visiting them, reaching out to them, holding their hand, giving them hugs, helping them along, providing affirmations for them. How can we begin to reach more people who are not even in the conversation? They're not even being considered to being, brought into the conversation. How can we reach more people who we are not connecting with and we're failing in regards to mental health and mental illness support?
Well, who's talking about this?
Brother Thomas, we'll start with you.
All right. So great great, because I needed to have this conversation. I've recently pivoted to addressing that. I've joined the collaborative of other different nonprofits and organizations where we're identifying schools in different counties, and we're identifying the schools that are on the margins. And then we're going to reach out to their principals and find out what can we do specifically to assist with those kids that are on the margins, whether it's grades or behavior or truancy or some type of parent intervention. So we have to be more intentional. What I found in that, I don't know if it's going to work out great, but I'm going to claim it to, is do more school-based mentoring that focuses specifically on these topics. I have a personal approach, what I call the diesel, because of my experience with design thinking, DEI, social emotional learning. I just have a holistic approach to it all and just try to, create design challenges based on what the schools are going through and just talk it through together and come up with solutions.
That's good, Brother Thomas, and that's important because, again, when you have the connections, you have the resources. I could call up Dr. Dani. That's my sister. Like, I know I have that resource, but a lot of times people don't really know what their resources are. So I'm glad that you shared that, and also some of this phenomenal data that we are highlighting. Again, Dr. Dani is the data guru. Thank you so much for highlighting this. We were wanting to make sure we had this space. Dr. Dani, I'm passing the mic to you.
Yeah, I was asking, like, who's having these conversations, because they need to be in spaces that are structured, but they also need to be in spaces that are least desirable and the most overlooked, where people are highly just overlooked. And so equipping people with the tools to even facilitate these kind of conversations. Like what we're doing right here is we've got people who are committed to the cause, and they have ways to communicate the information in a very responsible way. We need to have more conversations, but we need to do it responsibly. So where are those people? Who are the people who claim to be advocates for this? Because those are the folks that need to start creating the environments where conversations like this can be held. And these can be really in places like the churches. This could be in places like the schools. But let there also be a place who's holding these conversations for the people who want to lead them to also get the healing they need as well.
Dr. Dani, that's good. So the people who are leading this can also get the healing that they need. Now, y'all know I like to add a little spice to the conversation. Tonya brought this up earlier, and I don't want to overlook this because this is a downfall in our community where we need healing. We have brothers like Diddy who are mentors, who are teachers, who are preachers, pastors, who are community leaders that oftentimes don't do the right thing. We don't call this out in our community in a way to shield our community from shame, but also we have to look at how these things are impacting our families. So, Brother Thomas, I'm going to give you some time to kind of address the brokenness in our families. And I want to address children who are pushed out, because you have girls that are pushed out of the homes because they don't want to just be silent and, be told that you have to do this and you don't have a mind, you can't think, you can't be, you have to do what we tell you to do, and you have to kind of be a servant, right? So we're thinking about young ladies who are pushed out of the home, young people that are pushed out of their homes because my family is Christian, but I may identify with being a Muslim. My sexual orientation, my sexual identity may be different than what my family has reared me as. So now I'm being pushed out. How do we help adults to heal so that we're not pushing out so many of our children who are battling mental health and mental illness because of the behaviors that adults have portrayed to them? So I want to give you some shine and some time to address that. How can we help adults heal so that we don't have so many children that are battling these things?
Oh, wow. All right. I'll be very quickly, but I want to just kind of go back a little bit and just say, as a coach and parent and all that stuff, I have to bring a holistic approach to everything, because part of my anxiety was not being able to find mentors for my own children. And so I want to make sure I say this in defense of coaches. A lot of times we bring a lot of our stuff home, you know what I mean? And it was negatively impacting my kids when I was in coach mode, if you will. So I had to learn how to separate and become dad really quickly. All right, and then so, oh boy, the parents. What I've identified is just creating an awareness campaign at the end of the day, and so I've taken on a lot of certifications in terms of restorative practice, dialogues, learning how to speak to parents, making sure they make the connection of the shame, how they speak, how they communicate, stuff I'm learning as I go. And let's just be clear about that stuff and realizing that I have to share. So we created the Men's and Fathers Empowerment Circle, looking to do a Parent Empowerment Circle. In February, I'll be working with the group doing a Empowered Parent Conference, where we're going to talk about a lot of these things to, one, break the stigma of the shame associated with mental health or lack of achievement, or, like I said, placing false expectations on your child, and also just learning, like I said, we talk about ACEs, understanding what your story, help parents understand their story so they'll know what to identify as things that they need to work on and provide resources of that nature.
That's good, brother. I know we're coming to the close of the show, but just for parents, having lived through some of this and just thinking about how people do grow over time, but it does take the hard conversations to be held within our families, individually, for us to be able to heal and grow. And again, a lot of people don't get this space to be able to do that. So I'm hoping that people who are connected to this conversation are seeing that there's no perfect way of doing it, but you do have a network of people that you can connect with in your immediate village. On the I Win show, some of the resources that we provided to help navigate some of these conversations. All right. So I want to, lead us into the last phase of the conversation, which is simply around what are you doing to help sustain your mental? We had a check-in on the last show. How is your mental? But what are some of the things that you are doing? Of course, Brother Thomas, we want to hear from you, Dr. Dani, Tonya, and those who are viewing the show. What is one thing that you are doing to sustain your mental? And what I mean by that is, what are you doing to keep yourself balanced, or like my daddy likes to say, in the middle of the road? So, Brother Thomas, we'll start with you.
Ooh, first thing is first. I just wake up on the positive side and just come with a positive mindset at the end of the day. That has been that was my greatest weakness, if you will. I always feel like good, but I want to be great. You know what I mean? I have to talk and bring more energy to spaces. That's and good. Realize when I don't have it, I just don't have it, but I want to have it. And so by the end of the day, I'm just more intentional reading the affirmations daily. I have to just change my mindset. At the end of the day, that's the one thing I'm doing, is making sure I elevate my mindset every day. Find some way to be better mentally for me. At the end of the day, that's one. Oh, let me have to say that I have learned to love me for me, and I'm telling you, it's worked wonders. And I have to work on it every day. It comes with some ups and downs, but I focus on the good.
That's good, brother.
For me, it's been, I learned inside of COVID to set very deliberate boundaries. And I have made it my life's mission to keep those boundaries in place, to honor those boundaries for myself, and to hold myself accountable for doing so. And then creating these boundaries, it's allowed me to create and cultivate time and space that is just mine, for me to push the reset button each and every week, or if I need to do it in the middle of the day. And that was changing, going to a field of work where I could do that in, having conversations with my family so that they understood if the boundaries were not, I'm not mad at anybody, but I have to set aside these clear spaces. So I would say putting really good boundaries in place that created a balance in my life.
Okay, I like that. Boundaries. We hearing that reoccurring. Okay, Dr. Dani.
I agree with Ms. Foley about prayer, but For me personally, it's allowing myself permission to feel the way I need to feel, even no matter what the emotion is. Give space for that emotion to be expressed, even if it's just you in a room. And then surrounding myself with people who respectfully understand the importance of that. And they don't fear my emotions, they embrace my emotions.
That's good. I love that. Thank you for everybody who is also adding what they're doing in the comments and those who are tuning in to the show. Of course, we're talking about mental health. I would add to the conversation and say that exercising the power of no. It's okay to tell people you love, family members, people who you work with, no. I'm also going to throw this out here because I know that Mama Foley, Mama Williams, some of the other grandparents are watching this morning. It's also okay to tell your children no sometimes. That, hey, baby, right now I'm not feeling the best. Right now I'm in this space, because they also need to see us as humans. I think that a lot of times there's a disconnection from children seeing adults as humans. So if children can see adults managing their mental health, their mental illnesses differently, then imagine how children will begin to model that behavior. But we have to remember that we all are teachers. We're all teaching in some shape, form, or fashion. If we as adults begin to model how we are handling our mental health, our mental illnesses collectively, and creating a safe space for people to do that, then we'll get some different outcomes. All right. So guys, it is almost 8:15. We are close to the end of the show. Any final words, Thomas, Dr. Dani, Tonya, before we close out today?
Mind your mental. No, go ahead.
Go ahead, Brother Thomas.
Because we brought up the coaching aspect, it is something that is near and dear to my heart. I just want to reach out to those who do influence young people. Take it serious. It's a real job. It's a job. I'm my coach, but that's teaching skills. But mentoring is building a relationship, and mentoring is what we need to do more of. Build relationships with our young people and be more vulnerable and share more. Like I said, that it makes all the difference. Like Jason mentioned, just live out loud. Live out loud.
Love that.
I'm gonna say, do your healing work. You know, when you get a cut and bleed on others, do your healing work. And if you don't know what that is, ask someone. Have enough self-love and not be too proud or too prideful to ask for help so that you can do your healing work.
Wow.
I would say learn the language and the tools to check in on people. Watch what you say and how you say it. And I'm saying that to all of us who are used to asking people, you okay? What's wrong with you?
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to do all that. Just saying, hey, you gonna be all right. Just say that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's good, Dr. Dani. Because a lot of times people are doing that, maybe good intention, but it's, maybe a different approach. I'm glad that you highlighted that. Mr. Thomas, we got some of the grandparents asking, look, I called you Mr. Thomas, but Thomas, brother, we have some people that want to know, when is your mental health conference coming up? And you guys know that Thomas and Kenneth are partners of ours in this work, so you guys will be seeing them in the work. So fret not, because they will be around and being connected. But Brother Thomas, how can people get connected with you and the work that you're doing?
All right. Right at this time, hit me on my personal email. I'm in the middle of a rebrand, if you will. But TJ Morse, TJ MORSC, the number 3 at Gmail. February we're doing it. Team Youth Town Hall, February 22nd, and then in March is when we do the Empowered Parent Conference, where we will be talking about the mental health issue. I'll get with you all specifically about the date for March, but February 22nd is the Youth Town Hall. We want to hear from the babies first, so we know how to move forward. And I should say young people. We should say young people, not babies.
It's okay, babies, young people. They all look. We got you. We know that they the children, right? We know we need to support them. Brother, we appreciate you being on the show today. It's been phenomenal. Lots around this conversation. So I will end us on this and ask that if you're tuned in, let us know what are some things that you want us to close out the year discussing, talking about. I know there are some conversations that need to be held and had for our community. Let Dr. Dani and Tonya and I know what you want to hear. We are at the hour mark, guys. Thank you so much for tuning into the show. Now, I said I will give y'all my top 9 organizations to support. Tomorrow is Giving Tuesday. Lily's Foundation is one organization helping empower youth. Every Color Matters. The Crawford Foundation that is supporting young Black and brown children who want to go to law school and become lawyers in honor of my niece's godfather. The Brothers Brunch Foundation, the Community Empowerment Foundation. Support them, please, because Dr. Dani supports Lily's Foundation and so many others support Community Empowerment Foundation. You have Ivy Prep Academy, 2 brothers running for office. Chivy Brooks, Atlanta School Board. The election is on December 5th. Rashawn Kemp is running for office as well. Support them. And I'm just going to throw this in just because I know that you may be able to donate. But the Black Wall Street Times and the National Parents Union, I'm going to add them to the list, right? Just that quick. Phenomenal conversation today. Brother Thomas, we love you, brother. Thank you for being on. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We'll be back next Monday, 7:15 a.m. Be here for the I Win Morning Show. Invite somebody with you. Tell them to set their reminder. Tell them to watch the rewatch if they got to go back and get another show. But the I Win Morning Show will be back next week. I'll be back tonight at 7:15 and 8 o'clock for Speak Black Man. But peace and love, y'all. Don't forget, CORE. We're going to add CORE to the list, too.
Yes, we are doing
Any
the
other
work.
organizations, drop them in the comments. They're doing some phenomenal work. But don't forget, Giving Tuesday tomorrow. Find you a credible organization. Because we ain't got no money or time to waste. Find you a credible organization to donate to. This has been phenomenal, y'all. Peace. End of the show.